A billionaire CEO is dead. 4 people shot inside Blackstone's HQ. And the media's talking about the NFL? Nah, you ain't crazy. They're covering it up. Because when the internet laughed, memed it, and called it Luigi, they realized this wasn't just tragedy, it was a fucking signal. A message from the broke, from the ignored, from the generation that's done watching billionaires die of old age.
So why aren't they saying her name?
Because if they tell the truth that Wesley LePatner was a high-ranking, high-profile real estate exec, they got to admit something way bigger, that this system made people numb, that Wall Street deaths don't hit like they used to, that we're not sad anymore, we're just watching the scoreboard. So let's break down why they're barely saying her name, and when they do, it's like Blackstone employee, respected mom, tragic loss, cool. But who was she?
She was the fastest kicking CEO of Bright.
Exactly. Not some middle manager, not someone grabbing a coffee in the lobby. She ran a $53 billion real estate trust. That's not an employee, that's a power broker. So why downplay it? Because if people knew what Bright really does, they'd stop calling it a tragedy and start calling it blowback. Blackstone Real Estate Income Trust was founded in 2017. They've spent the last 8 years swallowing the housing market like a fast-risk kicking void. We're talking $105 billion worth of homes ripped off the market, bought in bulk with cash, no negotiation. You try to put in a mortgage offer, they outbid you in seconds. You're not competing against families anymore. You're competing against Wall Street with a war chest, and they don't sell. They don't flip them. They don't resell. They hoard the homes and turn every single one into permanent rental inventory. So now, that house you dreamed of buying, you're paying double to rent it from a private equity firm.
And guess who sets the rent price?
Bright? Yeah. And in some cities, they're the only landlord. They've achieved monopoly control, especially in the Sun Belt. Atlanta, Charlotte, Phoenix, Tampa, whole zip codes are now owned by one F asterisk, cricking hedge fund.
So what happens when you control all the rentals? You raise the rent, and there's nowhere else to go.
Bingo. You're not renting from a landlord anymore. You're renting from a fasterish kicking algorithm. Why they can't say her name. So now you see why they can't focus on who died. Because if they say high-ranking Blackstone exec gunned down, CEO of firm driving unaffordable housing, they open Pandora's box. Because people aren't dumb anymore. They feel it when their rent hits $2,400 for a 2-bedroom. They know they're being outbid by something robotic. They realize the dream of owning a home is dead and someone killed it. And that someone worked in that building.
So they just say employee and move on.
Yeah, like she was stocking shelves, not architecting the financial structure that's pricing out a generation. They minimize her role to protect the illusion, because the moment you connect her name to the rent you pay, people stop scrolling and start looking for blood.
Yo, so we back in here for another edition of F-ya-Motha, and I was actually going to do this as a news segment, and this happened, I want to say, a couple weeks ago. It says top Blackstone boss Wesley LePatner killed in New York shooting. So, yeah, it was about 2 weeks ago. Just about. It says New York City is reeling after a mass shooting Monday at 345 Park Avenue that left 4 people dead, including Wesley LePatner, a high-ranking executive at Blackstone and one of the most powerful women in real estate. The shooter, we won't say his name because I don't like to publicize them niggas. They gotta die in obscurity. From Las Vegas, stormed to the high-rise armed with 2 guns and a disturbing message he left behind, a suicide note blaming the NFL for ruining his mind, claiming he suffered from CTE, brain disease usually linked to professional athletes and with repeated head trauma. He only played football in high school and was never diagnosed. Tomorrow also had driven cross country to send a message, but reports said he took the wrong elevator, ended up opening fire inside of office that wasn't even affiliated with the NFL. Among those killed was Wesley LePatner, 44, a Yale graduate, wife, mother of 2, and CEO of Blackstone Trust, a massive $53 billion property fund. Now, God rest the dead. You know, most people say God bless the dead. It's stupid. They already dead. They can't receive blessings. But this is the face, or one of the many faces, and as we can see, this might be the main causation of rent going high as shit, because she had that look in her eye, right? Money grubbing, gold digging bitch that wanted to squeeze blood from a turnip. Now they said that he took the wrong elevator. He got off on the floor that wasn't even connected to the NFL. That's because he was a goddamn Manchurian candidate. I'm not under the impression that it was an accident. He knew exactly what the fuck he was doing, especially it says that he only played high school football. So the fact that they claim that he got off at the wrong floor, he got off at the right floor. Because it wasn't about no damn CTE. This cover story they telling. That motherfucker had a grievance because he probably lived at his home with his mama in the basement. Jacked off 4 times a day. Couldn't get no bitches, and judging by his haircut and the fact that he was half black and half Japanese, he couldn't get no hoes of substance. So he was fucked up. He was like, I'm tired of this shit. I'm tired of beating my dick in submission. I can't get no hoes. I'm living at home with my mom, bitch calling me a loser type shit. So he did the only thing a real nigga could do. Let me shoot something. He probably did, and this is another thing. Like the video before I started talking said, the reason they not trying to really say her name and they're trying to downplay it is because we waking up. Social media, Twitter, all types of social media apps. Whether you call them conspiracy theorists or people just talking heads, just making stuff up out of thin air, they're getting tired of it. They're getting tired of the fact that housing is sky high. The Luigi Mangiano ran up on the CEO of healthcare, or whatever the hell that company name is. And what I would like to know, and what the pressing question is, can I get 500, Alex, for how the fuck they know the itinerary of these people? That seems very odd. Nobody's like pointing that out. I've been watching them, tracking the media, and they're not even saying like, how did they come across? She's not like a cabinet filer. She's not a janitor. She's not the cleaning lady. She's literally a high-ranking executive that literally was in charge of $53 billion. Would it be not a million? 53 billion. So the fact that they downplaying this is because they don't want to give this too much light for people to say, yo, I think like these are the scumbags. Right now, I've been saying this, and when this becomes public and the consensus is this, people be like, damn, he said this shit like 5 years ago, because I've been saying it. I'm 42. A lot of my cohorts, I'm saying the shit right, other 40 something year olds, and this bitch was 44, so she was a couple years older than me. They have a knack for like trying to squeeze blood from a turnip. Even more like this is one thing I can honestly say about the old motherfuckers back in the days, like people that are 55 and older. At least they was upfront about being scumbags, and nobody messed with them because they knew that, yeah, I'm jacking your rent up, and what the fuck you gonna do about it, right? There was a certain sense of like, you don't want to trifle with them. They was like Bane. Now they old or either dead, but the ones in my generation, they try to mask and be friendly and fake corporate, and the younger generation can see through that. They said my man was 27. He just magically got off on the wrong floor. I don't buy that shit. I wouldn't buy that. I wouldn't buy a vow and that shit for $800. Not even $1. That sounds suspicious. But the reason they're trying to like gloss over it is because they don't want to get burned in the brains of the people that this is what happens when the rent is high. You shoot the person in charge of the high rent. They don't want that to be the consensus. In a minute, the CEO of the grocery chains are going to start getting smoked. So they better do something fast, man. Like, I don't know what the fuck they thought. Like, niggas is not going around here. And this is actually like perplexing because now it's black people joining in on the melee. It used to just be white mass shooters. Now it's black mass shooters because like nobody gives a fuck no more. Because these scumbags are egregious with the extremities of the world, man. They're making life unbearable. At least I can say honestly, let me take that shit back about the baby boomers. At least I can say that while they were squeezing blood out of a turnip, they at least fell back on like nigga might need an apartment. You know, nigga might not want to pay $7 a carton for eggs. Let them eat and live comfortably so they can get the fuck off my back with the taxes. We was cool with 30-40% taxes as long as we can afford to lay our fucking head down. With taxes now, well, they still between 12 and 36%. But yeah, we was cool with the high ass taxes as long as we can afford housing and fucking food. People didn't dress like shit back in the 90s. I'm gonna just keep it 100. Most people wasn't like fashionistas and up on that shit didn't matter. As long as your clothes was clean, didn't stink, you was good. Now everybody wants to look like they never have a bad fucking day, or you know what I'm saying, they clothes are wrinkled, or people don't look normal. Everybody want to look polished. That's the gayest shit ever. So yeah, it's only gonna get worse. But I'm gonna keep doing this. Lord's willing, I live on, and by the time if I'm in my 60s doing this, the outcome is more people are gonna get gunned down. I actually think that there will be a president that is successfully assassinated within the next 15 years. In any event, if y'all like this episode, and YouTube, I didn't say that people should assassinate the president. I said there's gonna be an assassination if the extremities of life do not calm down, simmer down. In any event, if y'all like this episode, you know what to do, and I'm out.
No.